Are the Packers the team to beat in the NFC? We'll talk about that and more here. And week 2 is officially underway in the NFL. It's a new episode of the Pain and Panic podcast. I'm Adam Sheets, joined by Chris Reynolds. Chris, dominating performance by the Packers today. They get the win over the Commanders, and you just look at the way the game went, and it was almost copy and paste on what they did to the Detroit Lions on Sunday. They've repeated against another team that was a playoff team that played in the NFC Championship game last year. And again, as I said on the top, are they the team to beat in the NFC right now? Because man, they have looked good through 2 weeks.
No, they definitely do, and I think what's scary is the Lions. You thought their offense might have had a problem because of the different offensive coordinator. The Commanders have everything basically the same, and the Packers just dismantled that offense. I think that's why the Packers are proving they're the best team. I would say right now they look like the best team in the NFL. I know it's only been 2 weeks, but they look the best. Their win against the Lions, as you talked about, was great. And I was expecting more of a shootout because we know that Commanders' defense isn't great. But when you make the Commanders' offense, look like this is a little bit concerning. And I did not think that on a Thursday night we would be able to record this game before the game even finished because the Packers would be winning by this handedly.
Yeah, still about 7 minutes left in the game, but we're confident. The Commanders just turned the ball over on down, so we're a little confident that the Packers will be able to hold on. Remember, as we said in our last episode, we wanted to record our Monday episode early, but the Bills did not allow that to happen. So shout out to the Bills. But looking at this Packers team through 2 weeks, obviously give respect to the Eagles, defending Super Bowl champs. They're 1-0. They have a big game this week. We'll preview that game. That's our game of the week when the Eagles travel to Kansas City. But I think, you got to give respect to what the Packers have done. And it reminds me, and everyone's going to say, well, this didn't end well. Like, no one considers this a good trade. It's when Khalil Mack went to the Bears. Like, everyone now says that was a horrible trade. But if you look at the year he got traded, which was 2018, he got traded right before the season, just like Micah did. And the Bears went 12-4, and of course lost their playoff game on the double doink game against Philadelphia. So, like a 12-4 team, they looked great. Their whole defense elevated when Khalil Mack got there. That's what we're seeing through 2 weeks with Green Bay. Of course, now Green Bay is saying, well, hopefully it ends a little better for us than it did for Chicago. It didn't end up working long term. I think a lot of that might go to Mitch Trubisky, and Khalil Mack quickly aged. He's still playing though. He's still a decent player, but Micah has just had this impact. Even when he's not dominating the stat sheet, you can just tell just when he's on the field, whether it be creating double teams, getting pressure on the quarterback. There was one play in this game where he just chased Jaden Daniels immediately out of the pocket, and then Jaden got upended as he tried to run just away, just to try to get something out of nothing. So, this Packers defense, that trade looks better and better every day since they've made that trade with Dallas, and they're going to be 2-0. And you look at the rest of the division, Minnesota's got a Sunday night game, but the Bears are 0-1, and the Lions are 0-1. One of those teams will get a win. They play each other this weekend, but man, the Packers look dangerous. And Jordan Love is playing really good football on the offensive side as well.
Yeah, I think, like you said, when the trade first happened, I told you, I said it was more like Khalil Mack to me just because of the impact of the player at that time, but Micah's younger, which I think helps where he's kind of entering his prime. Khalil Mack kind of dropped down from the top level, but then he stayed at a pretty good level. But Micah Parsons, I think, is going to be at this level, and I think, he might be in his prime longer. And offensively, though, the Packers just seem like they plug in any receiver they want, and that receiver immediately just becomes good. They spread the ball really well, and Josh Jacobs, I think, had a weird start to his career, but then after he kind of broke out on the Raiders that one season, he's been a very good running back. And they had 2 new offensive linemen today, and after the first drive, you could barely even tell. So it seems like they really look like an unstoppable machine. The question is, can you keep this up throughout the whole season? Obviously, you're going to have ups and downs. If they're playing like this in the playoffs, that'd be phenomenal. But who knows where you get when that time comes. But for right now, if you're a Packers fan, you have to feel the best you probably could have. And the main question for them coming into the season was more on the defense with getting pressure on the quarterback. That's kind of seemed like that wasn't their strength. And now with Micah, they really don't have a weakness right now.
Yeah, and you can tell, teams now have to scheme. They're getting the ball out quicker from the quarterbacks, and the corners have been able to eat on that play press coverage, be able to jump it and break up a lot of passes. I'm just peeking over. Brandon McManus is attempting a 56-yard field goal, I think's what that says. It's a long one. I'm just watching because field goals have been an adventure tonight, and looks like McManus drilled it. So good job for Brandon McManus. So I was gonna say, I saw some Jags fans, as a fellow Jags fan here, everyone's like, good thing we have Cam Little because some of these kickers looking a little shaky today. But Green Bay's a little different.
Every
than
fantasy
Southern.
league I tried getting Cam Little, and it worked greatly week 1.
Yep, I have him in every league I have because I was not allowing anyone else to get Cam Little. Love that guy. But yeah, so McManus, so it's our 27-10. Again, we decided to record this one early. We're feeling confident the Packers are going to get the win over the Commanders. And for the Commanders, we'll talk about it. Week 1, they moved the ball. They didn't score a lot of points against the Giants. They ended up winning that game 21-6. Their defense looked really good. But today, obviously, run into a buzzsaw. I mean, maybe we owe, a lot of Lions fans were on us about, overreacting on week 1. I do want to tell all the fans that are really mad about our overreactions. We know they were overreactions. That was the whole theme of the episode, guys. So calm down, okay?
I was very happy to see a lot of engagement on the post, and then I read the comments, and I felt bad for you, Adam. But it wasn't the Lions fans. It was
Broncos.
It was the Broncos fans that got you, Adam. And
they're not
I've
happy.
never seen so many people attack someone for being a Jaguars fan.
I know. It was just like they were making fun of me for being a Jags fan. I'm like, and then they're like, oh, wow, yeah, we'll wait to see. Can't wait to bring this back up at the end of the year. It was an overreaction. If I had to bet money, no, I'm not betting money on the Broncos to have a losing record. But okay, that's just.
I might have to pull a Kevin Durant, make some burners, be like.
Yeah. Well, I told you
make some great points.
I told you, Chris, if it does end up happening, if the Broncos do have a losing record, oh my, we will have an emergency pod all set up, and I'm just going to go off for that might go 5 hours of me just making fun. And there's a big game, December 21st, Broncos Jags, end of the year. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but if it's getting close to where they could have a losing record, maybe I'll be hopping on a flight out to Colorado. I don't know. Maybe I'll go out and watch it. You never know. But now the Packers are going to get the win. They look great, but the Commanders. Like, what do you see from them here through 2 weeks? Like I said, they moved the ball a lot last week but didn't score. And here, we're obviously giving a lot of credit to the Packers' defense, but they struggled to move the ball in this game on the road, and they're going to fall to 1-1.
Yeah, I actually think their defense looked better than expected. Week 1, I mean, it was hard to tell if it was about the Giants or the Commanders, but the Giants could not move the ball on them. And in this game, they did allow, some scores early, but they've done a pretty good job of limiting the damage since then. So, honestly, I think their defense looks good. It's their offense that is concerning. Jaden Daniels starts to scramble, and I love it when quarterbacks run. But with the zone the Packers have, Jaden Daniels gets 2 yards and falls down. Looks like every receiver is just covered every play. Terry McLaurin feels like he's always just about to be out of bounds every single time the ball's thrown to him. Their offense looks a little broken, and I do feel bad. Just I love this team, but they're just kind of frustrating right now. And I think for their offense, they just kind of need to have one of those games where Jaden busts out and has an amazing performance. And I think it's a little bit of sophomore slump, maybe just a weird clunky beginning to the season. I'm not really sure yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think. If you're looking for a true concern, it would be this has happened a lot with Cliff Kingsbury offenses, where as you go on in his tenure, the offense tends to not be as great as it was immediately when he got there. You saw that when he was the head coach in Arizona. So that would be your fear. I mean, I think they're going to be okay. Like I said, right now the Packers look like the best defense in football, so you want to give them that pass right now and say they're going to be okay. But it's going to be tough to see. I think this long week's going to be good. Let me just check to see who they have next week. But I think this long break, they get the Raiders next week at home. So I think the Raiders look decent in week 1, and then they have the Monday night game. So they'll have the long week, and the Raiders will have the short week because they play on Monday night. So I think that's a favorable matchup for Washington to maybe get back on track here. And looks like they're putting together a nice drive here now with about 6 minutes to go, down 17. I will say the Packers' defense has looked great, but garbage time touchdowns. They gave up one against the Lions too. Maybe that's going to be their Achilles heel this year, is when they're up, they're just going to give up garbage time touchdowns. So you never know.
Yeah, I think for fantasy purposes, I'm actually okay right now. But you know what? Honestly, the Packers' defense is still going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Packers' defense looks really good. I'm surprised if their secondary has been as good as it's been. The Commanders, don't mind my dad's phone going off next to me. The Commanders' defense, though, we'll say it looks pretty solid, except for Marshawn Lattimore. As a Saints fan, I've always liked Marshawn Lattimore. He's done a great job against Mike Evans. And then he was starting to, drop a little bit at the end of the time of the Saints. They traded him to the Commanders. I thought, all right, they'll get the last things out of him, and then whatever. he has been abysmal through 2 games, and I really just think he's getting older. The injuries are piling on, and right now, every single time there's a Packer running, he just has to grab him.
Yep.
So it is a little bit concerning there. But like you said, the Commanders, I think, especially because they're going to get to play the Giants again. They're going to have Dallas, and they're having. I mean, their schedule isn't super easy just because they kind of, when you finish second in the division, usually the bad teams get easy schedules. But it's weird seeing the Commanders actually, like, in general, have a harder schedule because I'm used to them being terrible. So.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that the NFC East does play the NFC North. So that's obviously, out of all the divisions in the NFC, you do not want to play the NFC North because it's probably the best division you have. So that's going to be interesting to see for them, but it looks like they're going to fall to 0-1 in that matchups against the NFC North. So anything more you want to talk about in this game? We kind of talked about the Packers potentially being the team to beat. Still want to give respect to Philadelphia, and then where the Commanders are going here, maybe a little to be determined. But anything else you want to touch on before we move on to our game of the week?
Real quick, I think Austin Eckler just got severely injured on his leg, so that does not help a team that traded away their main running back. A non-contact leg injury does not look good,
Well,
and he cannot stand on it.
if you ask fantasy owners, it actually might help them because every time Bill Krosky Martin's on the field, good things happen. So,
Well, that's not the point. It's more of the fact that a man just tore something in his leg, most likely.
Non-contact injury, not what you want to see from Austin.
But we can
Eckler.
move on to the main game. Just want to point that out. I mean, that's for a team like the Commanders who were trying to use this running back committee. You trade away one, you just lost another one right now.
Yeah.
It looks like for at least 4 weeks, most likely.
Yeah. So we'll move on. The Packers are going to get the win. They're going to move to 2-0. The Commanders will fall to 1-1. But now we'll go to the game of the week. There really wasn't much conversation on what would be the game of the week. I quietly pushed for Jags-Bengals. I don't think it got much traction.
No, it did not.
So we'll go with the Super Bowl rematch. It's the Eagles making the trip to Arrowhead to take on Kansas City. It's a Super Bowl rematch, of course, from last year when the Eagles defeated the Chiefs 40-22. And of course, the storyline here, Chris, is the Chiefs are 0-1. So are the Chiefs really going to fall to 0-2? They have not been 0-2 since 2014. That was Andy Reid's second season with Kansas City. So it's been a long time since they've lost the first 2 games of the season. No, it's definitely not a death sentence for a team. Last year, the Ravens started 0-2 and, of course, made a run in the playoffs, lost in the divisional round to Buffalo. But what are the Chiefs going to do here? Looks like, as of right now, Xavier Worthy trending to potentially playing. He practiced today. He was kind of joking around, dancing, messing with his shoulder. I don't know how much I love that if I'm a Chiefs fan, but looks like he's at least going to try to give it a go. Still probably a game-time decision, but like, what are you looking at here with Xavier Worthy and this Chiefs offense? Because I think that's the big storyline. I think we know what we're getting from Philadelphia, but the Chiefs are a huge question here. And some people are even going as far to writing off that they're kind of cooked as a dynasty.
Yeah, I don't even think the Chiefs are even entertaining like they used to be. I don't think they're as good as they used to be, definitely. And now you watch them, they really have no one to throw to. They have Hollywood Brown for the few games he'll be healthy. They have Juju Smith-Schuster, who's, okay. And I just don't really know how this team is still, was competing last season. And I think this year it's really going to be a rude awakening for the Chiefs.
You're writing them off. You're done with them.
I am.
Wow.
Especially when they have 2 good guys in the receiver room. One of them just got their arm taken off by Travis Kelce, and the other one is suspended.
Yeah, but I just told you Xavier Worthy's going to play, it looks like, now on Sunday. So it doesn't look like he's going to miss any games.
He's going to be playing with a brace.
Yeah. But then
I think that's important when you have to run, and his thing is all about speed, and you have to try to move your arm around, you have a brace on.
But are you going to write off the fact that they're probably going to have a player that's going to be joining the team in about 4 weeks that used to play there, wears number 10, is really, really fast, and he's currently living in South Beach, Florida, but most likely will be living in Kansas City, Missouri by the time the Chiefs are getting Rashee Rice back?
I do think there should be a countdown on the Tyreek Hill back to the Kansas City Chiefs. That is just happening at some point this season. I think the Dolphins are terrible. I think Tyreek Hill wants out, and I think the Chiefs need him desperately back, especially since Travis Kelce hit his own teammate so hard in the shoulder. Yeah, I just don't really see how the Chiefs, like, I don't know how they were winning games last season, and I think, that magical clock on them finally ran out.
I mean, I'm not going to write them off yet. I mean, they still have the best quarterback in the NFL, and they still have one of the best coaches in
Do
the
they still
NFL.
have the best quarterback in the NFL?
Game on the line, fourth quarter. Who do you want with the ball in the playoffs? Who you want with the ball? You going to
I
say
would
Josh
think
Allen?
I would want Josh Allen
Who had
and
the ball in
Lamar.
the fourth quarter of the playoffs last year in Kansas City and didn't get the job done?
I think Josh Allen
Then why didn't
put
he
up
get
a
the job done last
wonderful
year?
throw against a blitz, and Dalton Kincaid dropped it.
Okay, but how many times has he done that and lost? At some point, it's not
I
his
don't
fault.
think the Bills' losses are about Josh Allen.
Well, yeah, but at some point, you got like some people. People accidentally win one. Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. Matt Ryan's made a Super Bowl. Cam Newton made it to a Super Bowl, and old Peyton
And you
Manning.
know what? Nick Foles beat Tom Brady.
I know. Like
Does
sometimes,
it mean
yeah.
Tom Brady's, worse than Nick Foles? I think Mahomes honestly has not looked like the best quarterback in the NFL in a few years.
Man, he's been to 3 straight Super Bowls. Man, he just
I
keeps
think
going
the
to Super
team.
Bowls.
I think he's shown up when it matters, but throughout the whole game, I think there used to be a time where I'd be afraid of like, all right, the Chiefs coming off a loss are going to beat Philadelphia, but I just don't think they're that good to overcome that talent gap, and we saw that there was a pretty big gap between them. And against the Chargers, there's a lot of concerns about their secondary, and I think, besides Chris Jones, they have a lot of good playmakers on defense, but the secondary is not as good as you'd expect. And offensively, I don't want to see Xavier Worthy out there looking like a transformer with a brace around his arm when he's a guy that purely relies on speed.
Yeah,
I don't see it. I don't see the roadmap for the Chiefs to actually compete with the Eagles.
yeah, but we're saying all this stuff. Do you think the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs this year?
I would assume they're going to make the playoffs.
So with
I
all
think
the issues
the hope for
you've
them is they could
mentioned,
still beat the Broncos because the Broncos did not look good.
so all the things you just said, all the problems they have, they'd still make the playoffs. Why? Because the quarterback's there. Exactly.
One of the best coaches, one of the best quarterbacks, and a very good defense.
Yeah, I will call them the best until I watch someone beat them in the playoffs. That's all I'm saying. Until someone
Eagles.
beats them. Yeah,
The
well,
Eagles
okay.
did.
In the AFC, I'll put Jalen Hurts in the top 5. I don't think you do, but
I definitely do not.
so there you go. So if one of the top 4 can beat him, Joe Burrow is the only one that's done it, and that was in 2021. It's been a while. So I just said once they line up in the playoffs, if he misses the playoffs this year, it's completely different. I'll give him the pass. But no. But I'm with you. I do not think they're going to win this game. I do like it. There's part of me that thinks there's no way the Chiefs are starting 0-2. But at the same time, I can't. They're not better than Philadelphia. Philadelphia is better. They've won 15 straight games where Jalen Hurts has started and finished the game. They did lose that game to Washington when he was concussed and Kenny Pickett came in December. But it's been a long time. The last time they lost a game when he started and finished it was in Tampa back in late September, early October of last year. So, no, I'm going to take the Eagles here, but I mean, there's part of me that does think, at the same time, is there a chance that Kansas City just gets it done at home? But no, I'm with you. I will take the Eagles, but they're not cooked. Like for people saying that they're completely done. First of all, the Patriots dynasty went 20 years, and they had years where they weren't good. So they didn't make the Super Bowl every year. So
I just think the difference is with the Chiefs, at least. Mahomes is, what is he, 30 now?
he's
Like-
29, will be 30. Yeah.
Yeah, so Mahomes is about to be 30. It's going to take a little bit, I think, to kind of regroup things as the Commanders scored another touchdown. And they made it they're down by 9. The game's
Yeah, they're
over.
down by
I'm
9.
not going to give myself hope, okay? I'm just waiting for the Buffalo Bills versus Ravens moment from last week. I just don't really see where the Chiefs' path to being good in 2 years. I could see it in 5 years.
You want to see their path to being good in 2 years? Because I've thought about this. Never wish injury on anybody, but Brady had
God.
the year. Brady had the year where he got hurt and missed the entire year. I said if Mahomes has that and they have a bad year, it just feels like they're going to be okay this year, make the playoffs, maybe don't win the Super Bowl, don't make it to the Super Bowl. Next year, maybe they bottom out. They end up with a high draft pick. And, it's not like there's a superstar playmaking wide receiver in next year's draft named like Jeremiah Smith. just feels like somehow they're going to end up with Jeremiah Smith. I don't know why. Just feels like somehow the Chiefs end up with Jeremiah Smith. That's just.
I'm not entertaining this because it's too likely to be true, and I don't want
Could
to
you
see it.
imagine Patrick Mahomes with Jeremiah Smith?
Why? So you can do a dump off 4 yards and then just give him, room to run. I think that's
Chris.
boring. I miss the Mahomes throwing 50 touchdowns, 5,000 yards.
Yes,
I'm really
I
getting
think-
bored of the Chiefs.
I think Mahomes misses it too, but you just said the receivers aren't good. He has no one to throw the ball to.
And, I think what happened was they got rid of their good receivers because they were like, all right, teams are preventing the deep ball. Let's just go all in and a little
Chris,
drop-offs. and
you
let the
know
guy
that
run.
got them back-to-back Super Bowls and then
I
losing
know,
the Super
but
Bowl.
they may be the most boring dynasty I think we've seen with the most fun, interesting
Chris,
players.
Chris. I mean, we weren't alive for it, but the start of the Patriots dynasty wasn't scoring a lot of points. Like,
They
that,
at least
right?
had like a shutdown defense, and they had the beginning of a go, and I think that's interesting. We right now have like
Chris, no one was calling Tom Brady the GOAT in 2004.
no, but I think it's interesting because he was young and new. But I think what the thing about Mahomes is now is because we saw him up here at his best. His current play, oh my god,
You okay?
the sounds outside by the pond scared me. Sorry.
You okay?
When we saw Mahomes up here, and now he's playing like here, just because of what they're asking of him is a lot less. It's kind of boring to watch. Imagine we were watching Brady just handing the ball off, doing little, 5-yard passing plays. No, he was on the Bucks chucking it deep to Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. That was fun. Right now, it just feels like we're watching a nerfed Chiefs team. And last year, I was a full believer. And after that loss, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna actually need to see it from them. And I think teams saw that they could be destroyed. I think it was a weakness, a crack in the armor. I think it's gonna flood.
Man, after that loss, you're acting like they lost in the wild card round. They lost in the Super Bowl.
They got
Which was-
destroyed in the Super Bowl, and I think that matters.
Yeah, but the team you're trying to anoint ahead of them, they beat. They did lose to.
I think it gave the other teams hope.
Well, look, they've got destroyed in a Super Bowl before, and no one really jumped to the hope part of it. So
I think that what was different was after that Super Bowl, they made a lot of changes to improve. They got a lot better offensive line. They did lose Tyreek. And also
well, they
the
kept
next
them for
year
1 year.
The
They
year
lost.
after they lost the Super Bowl was when they lost to the Bengals, I
Yeah,
believe.
I know their worst possible year is losing in the AFC Championship game in overtime. But crazy.
So maybe this year the Chiefs make it to the AFC Championship, lose to the Bills, Ravens, or Chargers.
Yeah, but still, they're not cooked. If they make it to the AFC Championship game, you'd still have them ahead of either the Ravens or Bills because one of them can't be there if the Chiefs are there. So
I think the Bills, Ravens knock each other out, then the winner beats the Chiefs. Also, I just think Jared Love took a 20-plus yard sack. That was crazy.
the clock's still running for him though. Good job.
But no, we can move on from this game. This is honestly the least. I don't even think this should be the main game of the weekend. This is one that I think is going to be so overrated. I think it's going to be a boring game. I have like multiple games I'm looking at. I'm like, I want to see that. I want to see that. And I see this game. I'm like, good teams. I don't think the game's actually going to be that interesting. I think it's going to be the Eagles handing the ball off and the Chiefs trying, and then they can't keep up.
I like how you think the Eagles are going to hand the ball off. You think A.J. Brown's allowing that back-to-back weeks? Come on now.
Every time he has a terrible game, he usually follows it up with like
Yeah, he's
10
getting,
plus catches.
He's getting at least 8 targets in the first half.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. Plus,
That's fair.
the Chiefs are decent against the run, and they actually handled Saquon Barkley pretty well in that Super Bowl game.
Well, they
So,
went all out to stop the run, and
Exactly.
and the Eagles said, "Okay, we'll throw
yeah,
it." And they
I
did.
think the game plan is going to be very similar. I think they're going to try to stop the run.
Last week against the Chargers, the Chiefs
did it,
know that the
yep.
Chargers run. The Chiefs went all out to stop the run, and the Chargers were like, "Okay, Keenan Allen wide
Yep.
open, Quentin Johnston 2 touchdowns."
Yeah,
I think let's move on to a better game. I honestly think this is the least interested I've ever been in the Chiefs. I'm so tired of them. I think people were thinking this last season. They're tired of the Chiefs. Now I think I've reached my point where I'm just like, you know who's not fun to really watch play football as much anymore? Patrick Mahomes.
Man, yeah, but you say they're not fun, but it seems like everyone complains. But every game comes down to the last play, which should be fun for people. But okay.
Did you have fun during the Chiefs Panthers game last year where the Chiefs
Yes,
hit a
Bryce
last
Young
second
looked awesome.
I don't think you should be watching a Chiefs-Panthers game for Bryce Young. And if you
Why-
are, that's a problem with
Why
the
not?
Chiefs.
I like watching guys play football. I like football, Chris. I don't like just watching, oh, wow, I get to watch Josh Allen do this, that, and the other thing. Like, and then guess what? Josh Allen
Oh,
also
wow,
has
Josh
bad...
Allen made a huge throw and a huge run
Hey,
and trucked
has
a
Patrick
guy.
Mahomes ever went 10 of 31 in a game? Because Josh Allen has in the last year. But okay.
Don't know what that has to do with anything. I think they're the most boring good team I've ever seen. I'm tired of it.
My, Chris, you really would have hated the Patriots dynasty if we were alive for... Well, we were alive for the
The
whole
beginning
thing.
of the Patriots dynasty,
You would have hated it. You would have hated it. And then 2007 happened, which would have been awesome. But, all right, so we'll move on to our upset picks. Last week, Chris and I both went 0-1. It was tough. I had the Giants. Didn't work out. Chris had the Texans. Didn't work out. So, Chris, you want to go first here? Again, I'll explain the rules. You get 1 point for a cover on the spread. And then you get plus 2 points if it's a 0 to 3 point underdog, plus 4 points for a 3.5 to 6.5 point underdog. And for a 7 or more point underdog, you get 6 points. There's some big underdogs here, Chris. And I really want you to take one, and I don't think you're going to do it. I don't know why, but one of your NFC Championship teams is playing a different quarterback this weekend in New Orleans, Louisiana. They're begging you to take them. That George Kittle's out. They're begging you to take them. Come on, Chris, take your team. Take your team.
I'm not doing it because I don't want to root for the Saints to win. I want them to lose. I am concerned because Spencer Rattler was asked to throw passes right in front of him, and the Saints just were like, okay, we don't have a good quarterback, but other things are good. We have a decent offensive line, and Spencer Rattler looked somewhat competent, asked to do the simplest things. So I don't want to pick against the Saints because they looked like they had some semblance of a team last week. But one team that had no semblance of a team were the Miami Dolphins, and they're favored over the New England Patriots. This makes no sense to me. I don't know who left that Dolphins-Colts game and thought the Dolphins have a chance to actually win a playoff spot this year. They were terrible.
Well, Chris, they're not asking them to win a playoff spot. They're asking them to win a game.
People think they could be a wild card team. I think they're the worst team in their own division. I think there were some doubters in the beginning of the year, but then there was some, hey, the Dolphins, they still have really good offense. They have a lot of playmakers. McDaniel, was a great coach. I think that's just people change their attitude of them. The Dolphins are terrible. They really don't have anything interesting about them besides Tyreek Hill, who will be traded soon. I think they need to do a big change there. If Daniel Jones dices you up, I think that the Patriots, they have a better defense than the Colts, I think. And then offensively, I wouldn't have thought that they would be competing with the Colts offense with Daniel Jones. I thought the Patriots would have had a better one. After week one, the Colts played great, I'll admit it. But I think the Patriots have a solid offense and a better defense. I think Tua looks kind of cooked, and I think the whole Dolphins team just needs to just completely disband and just find a new job or find a new team because it was atrocious. I don't know how they're favored in any game.
Well, Chris, they're favored because they're at home, and a lot of people don't think the Patriots are good. I'm with you. I understand it. When we do game picks, I will be taking the Patriots as well. But
It's
I think
ridiculous.
I think that's more of the reason.
I don't care where they're playing the game. They could play it at Tua's actual house. I don't think
Chris,
that is
it
a
might
world.
be over 100 degrees at kickoff, though, which is sometimes a problem for New England people going to South Beach.
That affects both teams, though.
Yeah, but
it's not
Miami's used to it. They practice in it every day.
Sure, but it's not like they've grown
Plus-
things in their body to adapt to the sun over
Plus-
hundreds of years of evolution. It's like
Distractions in Miami, man. There's distractions.
that's the best point you made. But Drake May's a stand-up guy, same girlfriend since middle school, and I think they're married or something now.
I'm gonna get this. I probably shouldn't say this. What about Stephon Diggs?
Stephon Diggs might not even make it to the stadium. All right, but you know what? He wasn't even. I don't think I even noticed him during the game last week. They don't need him. The Patriots with Mike Vrabel, I think they'll be fine. Belichick in Miami, that might have been different by the end of his time in New England. I don't know.
Look,
But-
this game either goes one of two ways. Either the Patriots win like we think, or the Dolphins somehow score 38. I don't know if there's any in between. Dolphins either are going off or they're gonna lose, and I'm with you. I think they're gonna lose. I think that's a good upset pick. You are only
Sure,
one.
the Dolphins always have a 5% chance to blow out the other team. I am a
Well, yeah,
little
because
concerned about
if
that.
Tyreek just goes nuts and just ends up wide open on deep routes,
I think he's more likely to go nuts against his own team and call some Antonio Brown type of stuff.
Yeah. So you're only picking a 1.5 point underdog, so you really kind of need the outright win. So you're going for the outright win. I like it.
I'm very confident in an outright win. I don't really see. I just don't get it. I really don't get it.
So I'm with you. I'm not taking the Patriots, but I have another game where I think the wrong team's favored, and we won't actually know mine until Monday night. The Packers are kneeing out, so the Packers will win 27-18 right now as that game's finalizing up. But I am taking my Super Bowl team. Not to win it, but I picked the Buccaneers to go to the Super Bowl. I'm taking them. They're 2.5-point underdogs in Houston on Monday night as they take on the Texans. I did not like what I saw from the Texans in LA against the Rams. Defensively they looked good, but the offense did not look good. The O-line problems still seem to be there for C.J. Stroud. He didn't have his best game. Ogunbowale fumbled on a drive to potentially win the game at the end of it. I thought the Bucs looked bad but won. They didn't look great on offense, but they found a way. Baker looked great in the 2-minute drill. They made the plays to win the game. Emeka Egbuka, of course, now famously called his own play to win it. He also called the play for Jeremiah Smith to get the ball to end the game in the national championship. So if he plays in Atlanta, they're not going to lose because just let Emeka Egbuka draw it up. But now I'm going to take the Bucs. I think the wrong team's favored here. I like Tampa Bay as I haven't hit it all year long. And I think, Houston really concerns me, and I don't want to say C.J. Stroud is really falling off. I just think the team around him has completely collapsed, specifically the offensive line. They have not done a good job helping to protect their asset, which looked like one of the best picks you'll find at number 2 because he had one of the better rookie years we've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't really think it's anything about C.J. Stroud. I think it's about the fact that they have the worst offensive line in the whole league. I would have taken the Bucs, but you beat me to it with that pick, and I was like, you know what? Adam's all in on the Bucs. I'll find another one. And then I saw a Dolphins with a minus sign next to them, and I had to completely just be like, all right, there's no chance.
I was gonna text you and ask. So I had the Bucs already, but I was gonna text you and ask if you want to switch. I will switch to the Jags if you take the Saints. But
no,
I didn't think you would want to do that.
Also, I think Mac Jones looked good last year in the Jags. Honestly.
Yes, I know. You are high on Mac Jones, so I
had him in a fantasy league and a deep dynasty league, and he was good. No, I actually don't understand how the Bucs are being criminally underrated. The Bucs got a slow start to last week. Sure, it was week 1. Then they kicked things into gear, won the game when they had to. The Texans looked lost the whole game.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more of the you don't want to overreact to week 1, as everyone keeps telling us in our comments. We aren't overreacting. That was just the theme of the episode.
But even if you're not overreacting to week 1, I don't understand how the Texans are favored.
Well, I think it's more people thought the Texans were going to be good. A lot of people did. So, and I think it's just at home.
Do people really think
Houston.
the Texans are going to be better than the Bucs, though?
No, but it's at home. The Bucs are not going to go 17-0. Like, they're going to lose games. Everyone loses games.
I look at the Texans and I'm like, that's probably the worst division winner we're going to have.
Whoa. Watch it. They're not winning the division. Watch it, okay?
Okay. If they win, I don't think they're going to make it as a wild card team. So I think the Texans are viewed as a division winner. And if they don't win the division, they're not making it. I think they'd be the worst division winner. So I'm just confused. Yours was a good pick. I think the fact that if you could ever find the Dolphins favored to win a game, I would jump on the other side.
So, with the way we worked last week, though, if you're listening, you want to bet a game, I guess bet on the Texans and bet on the Dolphins because it'll probably work out with the way we've been working with upset picks through 1 week. All right, but now we're going to go to our season picks, which actually Chris and I weren't bad. We were 11-5 last week. We're already 1-0 this week as we picked on Monday. We picked the Packers to win today, and they did not let us down. So we're both off to good starts, 12-5 to start the year. So we'll go straight into the 1 p.m. time slot. Rams at Titans. Now, Chris, I do want to tell you, Broncos fans were letting me know the Titans have an elite pass defense, a very good pass defense. That's why Bo Nix played bad. It had nothing to do with, the fact that the Broncos didn't play well. It's because the Titans had an elite pass defense. Cam Ward's home opener in Tennessee. They host L.A., who's 1-0 coming off the win, as we mentioned, against Houston. So who do you like here? Do you trust the Broncos fans on how good the Titans are going to be, or do you like the Rams here?
I think the Titans definitely looked good, but give me the Rams. I don't feel great about it because the Titans just seem like they're going to be a frisky team all season. But give me the Rams. I don't really think it's much of a question. More of an experienced team. They're pretty healthy right now. Better than they'll probably be after a few weeks when Puka has his 8th injury and Stafford's back is broken.
Man, Puka's the toughest receiver in the NFL. I'm ready to say.
Dude got hit in the head twice and was bleeding out of his face.
Dude got stitched up, and then the stitches broke. I said, that is football right there. I'm with you. I'm taking the Rams. Of course, I'm not buying into the Titans' great pass defense. They're good. The Titans are, I think, better than maybe some people expected. They're not going to be the worst team in the league. But no, the Rams are going to win this game. I like them. I think, Stafford, remember, missed a lot of the preseason. So I think week 1 was kind of a tune-up game for him against one of, if not the best defense in the league. Probably the Packers are the best, but the Texans are definitely up there. So I think they're going to have a good game this week and get it done. Next, we go to Cincinnati, but battle 1-0 teams. The Jacksonville Jaguars travel to Cincy to take on the Bengals. Now, remember, the Bengals notoriously horrible in week 1 and 2, but they are 1-0. They got a 17-16 win against Cleveland last week, even though they had 7 yards of offense in the second half. Chris, who do you like here in the jungle? Bengals home opener, as they were in Cleveland last week.
It's a tough one. I'm going to have to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. I really don't want to do it. I don't like to pick them the first 2 weeks. They looked atrocious last week. Give me the Bengals. I think their offense needs a bounce-back game.
So this is the first time Jacksonville is playing in Cincinnati since Urban Meyer was the head coach. That was a famous Thursday night football game that Urban did not fly home with the team, and he went to his restaurant and maybe was talking up to a girl, and some things were going on with Urban Meyer. So it's their first trip back to Cincinnati. I saw Rich Eisen say the one thing he can guarantee is that the coach will be flying back on the team plane. He's not going to be going to the restaurant in Columbus. I'm taking the Jags, mostly because they're my team, and I get an opportunity. They're 1-0. We're partying. Plus, there's just an opportunity I think they can win this game. Again, the Bengals aren't great. They didn't impress me. They normally take a while to get going. So I think the Jags looked really good. I think Liam Cohen's a good coach. I think this could be his big coming out game for the Jags. I think Trevor missed a lot of opportunities, but didn't play bad last week. They really ran the ball really well. Travis Hunter's going to play more defense this week. So I like Jacksonville in this game. Not high confidence. I think it's going to be a close game. Could go either way. I would not be surprised if Joe Burrow gets if I'm sitting here and the Jags are tied or maybe up by 3 and the Bengals have the ball, I would definitely be like, Joe Burrow's taking them down and winning the game because that's just what Joe Burrow does. But I'm going to take the Jags here, go with my heart maybe over my head a little bit since I have the opportunity to do so. Then we'll go to Baltimore, battle of 0-1 teams. The Cleveland Browns are in Baltimore taking on the Ravens. Was almost an upset pick for me, Chris, only because I was thinking about taking the points. 12.5-point underdogs are Cleveland against Baltimore. That was the only reason. I was not taking it as an outright winner. I was going to take it as maybe a potential easy cover. But who do you like here?
But
I'm assuming I know who you want to win this. Who you think's going to win this game?
Coming off of that terrible loss to Buffalo, I think the Ravens are like, all right, we can't go 0-2, and you're playing a terrible team, and I think they're all pissed off about last game. So I think this is an ultimate Ravens. Pick them in every survivor pool you can. That's what I did. There's no way the Ravens lose twice in a row when the second game is to the Browns. The only way they lose this game is if they are so distraught about Buffalo that they are never the same with this core group of guys, which I don't think is the case.
My survivable pick was the Rams because, I get the Ravens the second time they play Cleveland. Think about it. I'm with you. I'm taking the Ravens here. I saw someone say, man, the Ravens would win every game they play if they're up 3 scores, but if they're up 2 scores in the fourth quarter, forget about it. They have so many blown leads in the fourth quarter. It's kind of bad, but they're not gonna fall to 0-2 this year. Joe Flacco's return coming back to Baltimore is going to be fun to watch, but. I think the Ravens are going to get it done. I don't think there's much there to look at, so I think it should be handled as business. Plus, I forget who it was, but one of the corners was talking about Derrick Henry, about how he's not that hard to tackle.
Brown safety was saying that Derrick Henry's easy to tackle. Yeah. My guess is Derrick Henry stiff arms him and throws him to the third row. Yeah. Remember the blind side when Michael Orr just picks up the guy and pushes him out of the football field?
He did it to Josh Norman, didn't he? He did it to Josh Norman once. He put him sideways in the air on a stiff arm.
Did he?
When he was with Tennessee.
Oh, Derrick Henry did, yeah. When Justin was on Buffalo.
Yeah.
I think Derrick Henry will stiff arm that man into another dimension.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for it. I think when you're trying to poke a bear and the bear is Derrick Henry, that's just a bad idea. Especially when Derrick Henry's like a running back who can literally run full speed at you and truck you. If I had to make a list of people I wouldn't dare to come at me, it would probably be Derrick Henry at the top of the list. So I'm hoping the safety gets trucked by Derrick Henry, can't tackle him, and Derrick Henry just blows past him for a touchdown. Thank you for mentioning that quote, because that was just maybe the most ridiculous quote I've ever seen.
Yeah, he really poked the bear. Now, hopefully Derrick Henry doesn't fumble, but
That would be the worst thing.
Yeah, just had to get a little shot in there, Adam. Bills, Jets. I'll go quick. I got the Bills. Jets looked good last week. Justin Fields looked really good, but I think the Bills are going to get the win. My only fear is it's a Bills defense problem and not a Ravens offense. Maybe the Bills defense has some issues and the Jets are able to find it, but I'm taking the Bills here in the Meadowlands. I think the Bills are going to get to 2-0, and because I think all the momentum they have from that game. It is a kind of a letdown spot, but give me Buffalo.
Yeah, I agree with all your points. I'm also going to stick with Buffalo. I am a little bit like, all right, the Bills got to have a good game defensively. I think I'm more worried about. And honestly, too, like the Ravens, Derrick Henry has always owned Buffalo. He's just done great up there. And I think they were so petrified of the run. That was like Zay Flowers go crazy. For the Jets, show us you can do it again offensively. Justin Fields looked great. Do it again before I start picking them in actual picks.
Yep, I agree with you. Let's see it to believe it. We'll skip the next one. It's Patriots-Dolphins. We both have the Patriots. Chris already said the Dolphins are favored. He doesn't know why, so we'll both take the Patriots there. Niners at Saints. We mentioned Brock Purdy is out. George Kittle is out. I'm wondering if the Niners have a training staff at all, because everyone seems to be hurt. But they're in New Orleans taking on the Saints. The frisky Saints, they hung in with Arizona last week. Now they're going to be playing Mac Jones. So, Chris, this is your team. I mean, you said you're not going to root for him, but would you pick them in picks? Because you might not get many chances to do so.
I think I'm actually going to pick the Saints. I really thought I'd come out here, but they looked really good week one. They made a very simple offense. Everyone did like a 2-yard curl, and then it was just like, all right, Spencer, it's a 10-yard pass. Just throw it right to the guy. And he did a pretty good job of that. If there is any part of the defense that is forcing Spencer Rattler to make decisions, it's all over. But I think they looked really good last week, and I don't think Mac Jones, with no Kittle, Debo's not on the team anymore, Ayuk's not there. I think it's really just be the Christian McCaffrey show, and that's assuming McCaffrey stays healthy. So I don't really know what's going on for the Niners. I'll take the Saints. I'll take them.
I'm taking the Niners. I'm a Mac Jones believer. I'll be the Mac Jones guy on the show.
You snake. You talked me into them just to ditch me. All right.
No, I'm taking the Niners. I just, look, first of all, the Saints don't want to win this game, so I don't think that's going to be big for them. Plus, I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think they can run a game plan around the run game with Mac Jones not turning the ball over and trust the defense to look really good against Sam Darnold. Yeah, I'm going to take the Niners here. I'm doing it for your sake. We're on the tank for Lenore Sellers watch right now for the Saints.
I don't want to hear it. I felt the trade. It's fine. Go to the next one.
All right. Giants-Cowboys. This is the toughest game for me to pick because I don't know how long Russell Wilson's going to be the quarterback, because if Jackson Dart comes in, it could change my opinion on this game. But I'm assuming with your reaction when I said it's a tough game to pick, you're taking the Cowboys.
I am definitely taking the Cowboys. I really want to believe in the Giants being a frisky team. They did look atrocious, though, against the Commanders. And even their strengths, I thought their defensive line would be getting to Jane Daniels all day. I didn't really see it much. I was a little underwhelmed there. And offensively, Russell Wilson is cooked, and I really don't think that if he plays the full game, I'm really just going all in. The Cowboys, even if he doesn't play the full game, it's going to be because he was so bad in the first half. Give me the Cowboys. I don't think there's a real question about it.
Yeah. I said if Jackson Dart plays, it would make it interesting. But I'm going to take the Cowboys as well. The only reason I thought about taking the Giants as well wasn't just Jackson Dart. It's no one's really talking about the Cowboys on national TV. They're not going to talk about it if they beat the Giants, but if they lose the Giants, everybody will be talking about the Cowboys. Jerry likes the talk. Sometimes Jerry doesn't like the wins. He likes to hear the chatter, so it wouldn't surprise me if Jerry's like, losing wouldn't be the worst thing in the world here, guys. We'd be leading off Get Up and First Take on ESPN this week. So
I just saw a video, and it was like the last time the Cowboys beat the Giants, and it was like the introductions for the Giants. It was Eli Manning, Odell Beckham, Victor Cruz, and like that squad. I was just like,
been
wow.
a long time since the Giants have beat the Cowboys, especially in AT&T Stadium. Seahawks at Steelers. This is a revenge game for DK Metcalf, who was traded to Pittsburgh. And also Aaron Rodgers looked really good on the other half of that Jets-Steelers shootout in Week 1. I'm taking the Steelers. I think DK Metcalf's going to go off because I think this is going to be Aaron, you went off against your team. Now let's make sure DK gets the ball and goes off against his team. I think the defense is going to look better. Again, I'm not sold on Sam Darnold outside of a Kevin O'Connell offense, so give me the Steelers here.
Yeah, I would disagree. I was going to pick the Seahawks as my upset to beat the Steelers. Then I thought, you know what? Aaron Rodgers looked good. Then I saw the Dolphins were favored, and I just could not help myself. But I think the Seahawks defense is for real. I think that's a legit lesson learned. It's hard for me to imagine the Seahawks having a worse offensive start than they did last week. So I'm gonna hope that the Seahawks, Sam Darnold, is somewhere in the middle between where he was with the Jets and where he was with the Vikings. Somewhere in the middle would be nice. They have a decent offense. They have a lot of pieces on offense, at least. Give me the Seahawks. I think Aaron Rodgers had a great game. I don't think he's going to keep that up all the time. And the Steelers, I don't think DK Metcalf is really that kind of game changer that can take over a game like that. So I don't think he's going to really have a huge revenge game.
I don't know, man. He likes to go when he wants to go off. He can go off. I think. Be ready for it. Won't be a lot of catches, but I could see 5 catches, 120 yards. He's a big play guy. But now I'm taking the Steelers. Last one for the 1 o'clock slate: Bears at Lions. A little behind the scenes thing. Chris texted me in the first quarter. The Bears are going to the Super Bowl after the first drive.
Okay, it was a joke. I said I've seen enough. The Bears are going to the Super Bowl. It was a joke.
Ben
but
Johnson revenge game returned to Detroit as well.
True. It was a joke. I don't think they were in the Super Bowl, but I thought Caleb looks really fast. He has a great arm, and that stayed true the whole game. Now, everything else about the accuracy of that arm and the decision-making was not there. The Bears really fell apart by the end of that game. Give me the Lions. I do think the Lions have to be better on offense. I think now we can feel better about the Lions considering how good the Packers defense looked against the Commanders offense, where it's like, all right, like, clearly it's not just a Lions thing. It was an issue with how good of a defense they played. The Bears have a decent defense. Decent defense. Their offense with Caleb Williams was just... Sorry, it's late night, man. I'm getting old. But I just don't understand how Caleb Williams has all this talent. It feels like it just does not go used properly.
Yeah, I think the weird thing, this is a huge game for the Lions because, we weren't the only people that were talking about, Jared Goff without Ben Johnson, and now Ben Johnson's coming back, so both defensively and offensively, you have to be ready to go. I'm taking the Lions because I think they're the better team, and the one thing, I've heard someone say this, and I'm like, that's a really good point. Ben Johnson is a real on-time, on-target quarter type of guy. Make sure everything's out on time, being on point, the movement, timing with the quarterback and everything. Caleb Williams is an off-timing quarterback. He's a guy who can make big plays, freelance out there. That's why he was drafted number 1, because that's what he did at USC. So it's a weird marriage where I think they're trying to meet in the middle a little bit, where Caleb can do the Ben Johnson things, but also then take the over-the-top stuff, the way you see Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen do that type of stuff. I think that's the goal eventually. I don't think they're there yet. I think the Lions get it done. It's in Detroit, and again, in these NFC North games, I like to lean the home team, so give me the Lions to defeat the Bears. Now we'll move to the 4:05 time slot, and Chris, the Colts are hosting the Pain and Panic podcast's favorite fan base. The Denver Broncos are making the trip to Indy. This is a weird one for me because I said the Broncos are toast last week, and I also said the Colts are the 2024 Saints, so I don't know where I'm going here. But where are you going? The 2024
Saints had 2 great weeks last year, Adam.
They did win in
week 2. And the Broncos,
2.
you want to stick it to the fans? Pick the Colts, Adam. You know what to do.
Who you picking?
Adam, I'm not a Broncos hater like you. I was on their side.
You have them in the AFC Championship game.
I do. Give me the Broncos to beat the Colts. But, Adam, you know how good the Colts look. Jonathan Taylor's a great running back, great receivers, a very good defense, great offensive line. Daniel Jones is great at the QB sneak. And the Broncos have Bo Nix, who's like Mac Jones to you. And just, other options. But none of them are like the Colts. So just put your money where your mouth is right now.
You said it. Bo Nix is like Mac Jones. But what did I say about 10 minutes ago? I'm the Pain and Panic podcast Mac Jones guy. So I like Mac Jones. So, I'm taking the Broncos. Mac Jones is a winner, baby.
Howard, you made me pick the Saints and you don't pick against the Broncos.
I'm gonna take the Broncos here. Nah, because at this point, it would be funnier if they rise, and then fall. It would be a little funnier that.
It would be really funny if you picked them to lose, they lost, and then you did a whole
It's too early. It's too early. It's too early to celebrate. Long season. Remember, it's overreactions on week 1. Everyone complained. We were doing an overreactions episode. What am I supposed to come on here and say? Oh, yeah, my overreaction for week 1 is Josh Allen is really good at football. Wow. Shocker. Okay, so
I just expected more from you, Adam, but it's fine. It's fine.
No, I'm not. I do not think Daniel Jones replicates against the Broncos defense because the Broncos defense I do believe in. I love the Broncos defense.
Daniel Jones is a playoff quarterback. We saw him beat the Vikings in the playoffs.
Yes, we're not getting back to that conversation from August. Okay, so next, the Panthers and the Cardinals in Arizona. The Panthers are 0-1 after a tough loss, 26-10 to Jacksonville. The Cardinals 1-0 after had to be a gutsy win in New Orleans. Now with their home opener, who do you like, Chris?
The Cardinals were a little concerning with the fact they kind of barely beat the Saints. I think the Panthers were terrible week one. I think I'm actually going out on the Panthers this year at all. I think Bryce Young showed some nice flashes last year, but I'm going with the Cardinals. I'm not even worried about this one. If I could pick the Cardinals again in the elimination pool, I would. Give me the Cardinals. Kyler Murray probably won't have an illness this time at least, and I think the Cardinals kind of left a lot of meat left on the bone for them. I feel like they were kind of just trying to win the game. They weren't really trying to blow anything out. They were trying to keep things simple. Against the Panthers, I have no worries about the Cardinals.
Nah, Cardinals all day. I watched the Panthers game because I'm a Jags fan. They did not look good. I mean, I can try to hype up the Jags all I want. It was a lot of the Panthers playing really, really bad. J.C. Horn had an insane interception, so I'll give him credit for that. But, that offense looked inept. I think the Cardinals are going to handle business and get the job done there. Eagles-Chiefs is the 4:25 game, America's Game of the Week. We both have the Eagles, as we stated earlier. So now we'll move to Sunday Night Football. Falcons at Vikings. J.J. McCarthy, we didn't talk about him because we recorded the show Sunday nights. We haven't talked about J.J. McCarthy and his Monday night heroics. Played horrible for 3 quarters, but found a way to win, taking on the Falcons and Michael Penix, who you like. And as the short posted today, I'm kind of still not over a game from 2020. So, Chris, who do you like in this one in Minnesota?
I was going to let you go first, but considering the fact that you love J.J. McCarthy and hate Michael Penix, I think I know where you're going. My issue is I think I genuinely love Kevin O'Connell, and I don't really want to pick against the Vikings, but I'm going to do it. Give me the Falcons. They just do find ways to lose games. Younghoe Koo, very accurate kicker. Take to win the game, he misses it. But Michael Penix dove to reach into the end zone like Michael Jordan. He did another Michael Jordan stretch to get a first down to tie the game. I think the Falcons are good. I think if Drake London plays, I would feel a lot better. If Drake London doesn't play, I'd be kind of concerned. But you know what? Give me the Falcons anyways. I will take them. I'll give you J.J. McCarthy, the Vikings. They had a great end to last week, but I don't know how much of that is, what's the real version of that Vikings team? I think he was cold and hot. I don't know if he's always going to be like that. Did it click and now he knows it for the rest of his season? Or was that more of just a good stretch? We'll see.
I think it was first start in division on the road. I think now back at home, I think they're going to look good. As Chris said, I haven't really talked about it. I am a huge J.J. McCarthy guy, which you might be thinking weird. I don't like Michael Penix because of Penn State stuff. J.J. McCarthy, 2-0 against Penn State, never lost to Penn State, but he didn't rip my heart out. Penn State ripped my heart out in those games. J.J. McCarthy didn't do it. That he did not throw a pass in a half against Penn State. Crazy stat, J.J. McCarthy has not lost a football game since December 31st, 2022. He has not lost a regular season football game since October of 2019 when he was in high school. J.J. McCarthy is a winner. He showed it in the fourth quarter against the Bears. They're going to win at home. If it was in Atlanta, I would probably have a different opinion. I think the Falcons might win, but I think at home opener, Vikings fans are stoked with the quarterback they have. Kevin O'Connell, the better coach in this matchup, so I'll take the Vikings to get it done. 2 Monday Night Football games this week. Bucks at Texans is the first game at 7 p.m. I have the Bucks as they're my upset pick. I believe you kind of hinted that you had the Bucks, so just going to clarify.
Yep, I also have the Bucks. I don't know how the Texans are favored.
Yeah.
And real quick, 2 Monday Night Football games is stupid. It's just so dumb.
I know why they do. I think they do it because of when they do the 425, like when it's a big game and they want everyone to watch, which a Super Bowl rematch of the preseason obviously is. I think that's why they do it. Plus, ESPN pays a lot of money, so they want.
Well, I get the fact too. They want to be the only game on, football game on in this own slot. Guess what? It's 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the start of the second game.
They did put 2 West Coast teams on, so give them credit for that.
Who wants this? Most of the United States is the East and Central time zone. Who's staying up that late? That's
All right.
ridiculous. I don't want to record the podcast at 2
You gotta
a.m.
respect. Well, first of all, Chris, we don't record after Monday Night Football. We record after Sunday Night Football. They never have
That's a
two
great
Sunday
point,
night
and I didn't
games.
think about it, and now I care a lot less, and now I feel better. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, so you won't have to stay up till 2 a.m. on Monday unless you want to. But
But
we
still,
both
the game's going to end at
yes,
1:30.
we both have the Bucks. But the last game, AFC West matchup, two teams that one team that looked phenomenal, one team that looked good potentially against bad teams, so we don't know. But the Chargers are hosting the Raiders. Great coaching matchup. Jim Harbaugh versus Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll was asked today about does he have any memories of coaching against Jim Harbaugh. He said, "Yeah, I've got a lot of them, and none of them are very fond. They do not like each other. They haven't liked each other since they coached against each other when they were at USC and Stanford. So this is a heated rivalry. They've been in division against each other for a long time when Harbaugh was with the Niners and Carroll was with the Seahawks. Now back in division together. Home opener for the Raiders and Pete Carroll. Who do you like here, Chris? It should be a fun game, even though it's at 10 p.m. and past both of our bedtimes.
Yeah, and what's worse is like my fantasy teams are on here, so I actually have to stay up and watch it. It's terrible. Give me the Chargers. I really liked what I saw week 1. I think the Raiders also look good week 1, but I think the Chargers against the Chiefs is a little different than the Raiders against the Patriots. So, give me the Chargers. I think what they showed was we like to run the ball, but we still have a great quarterback with a bunch of good receivers. That's not necessarily true. Quentin Johnson, though, played like a good receiver, and this year showed he can catch it without dropping it, which is a big improvement. So, give me the Chargers. I do think their offensive line is still good enough. They're not going to be able to be that extremely run-dominant team like they were last season, but I still think overall, a very good team. Solid on defense, and if they are throwing the ball like they were last week, the Raiders can't keep up. I think Ashton Genty was getting a handoff, and within half a second was getting tackled with no chance. So, give me the Chargers.
Yeah, I think it was interesting. The Chiefs did not get much pressure on Justin Herbert, which was weird with the Rashawn Slater being out for the year, like how they weren't able to get any pressure. So we'll see how Max Crosby can do for the Raiders. But no, I'm with you. I'm taking the Chargers. I thought they looked phenomenal. Again, I'm not a Justin Herbert guy, but I am a Jim Harbaugh. I like Jim Harbaugh as an NFL football coach. I'm glad he's not in college anymore. So I'm going to take the Chargers. I think they're the better team. Again, Genty didn't look great. The offensive line didn't give him much of an opportunity. I don't love the weapons for the Raiders. I know you like Jacoby Myers, but that's about it. Brock Bowers might not. Brock Bowers might not play. So that's a big concern. Now they have a good tight end room, but not sold on it. So yeah, I'm with you. Give me the Chargers. They're the better team. And the way Quentin Johnson looked, they now have at least 2, and if Keenan Allen could stay healthy and, keep finding that fountain of youth, maybe 3 receivers that Justin Herbert can rely on. So, and I think Amari Hampton and Najee Harris continuing to get healthy is going to be a very fun sign for the Chargers. And I think they should be really happy right now because, as we said, if the Chiefs fall to 0-2 and the Chargers get to 2-0 and they have that head-to-head win over the Chiefs, it would be a great sign for the Chargers if they're trying to maybe steal the division and potentially the 1 seed in the AFC. But that's going to do it, Chris. Looking at it, we only have 4 games where we're different this week. Jags, Bengals, Niners, Saints, Steelers, Seahawks, and Vikings, Falcons are the only games where we have picked differently this week. So,
not a lot of discrepancy. Let me just take one last look. Is there anything I would like to change?
You want to change? Oh, wow. Well,
I mean, it's part of the strategy of the whole thing. I'm really upset that you picked the Broncos to beat the Colts. I don't think I'm going to be able to forgive you for that one.
Yeah. I can't pick Daniel Jones. Okay. Do you want me to take the Colts? Do you trying to
No,
peer
it's
pressure?
fine. I want you to lose this and be my fault. It's
Nope.
fine. It's fine.
Nope. I'll take the Colts. I'm fine. I like Tyler Warren. I'll be the heel. You want me to be the bad guy? I can't pick against him every week, but I'll pick against him this week for the brand. You know why I'll do it? Because that gives us 5 games where we're different, which means somebody will be in the lead by the end of this week because right now we're tied. So,
all right, there we go. I win.
Yep, there we go. I mean, I could have switched to the Dolphins if I really wanted to, but I won't do that. So there you go. I have switched to the Indianapolis Colts. Congratulations. Broncos fans, let's ride. All right, so Chris, you got anything you want to say before you get out here? You got any guys that we should be starting this week in fantasy? If you're looking at, because you're a big fantasy football guy.
I am, and I'm struggling with my own team because we're at that point where after week 1, anyone that was bad for you, you now hate, and anyone that was good for you, you're totally convinced is going to be amazing. But then now you have that bad guy who played well versus the better guy who played bad. You're trying to decide who's who. I would say pretend like week 1 didn't happen, and play who you actually think's a better player. That's my advice. I had to do it to myself today. Luckily, I did not start Terry McLaurin. I would say for quarterbacks, wait one more week. And if Justin Fields is still good, go all in on Justin Fields. Pick him up if you can. That man will win you a league. That's what I'm doing.
Man, complete overreact on taking Justin Fields.
I had him before the season. Then I learned about some rules in our league, and then I got rid of. But he should have been a top 10 fantasy quarterback anyways because he can run.
Yeah, but even in a league where 6 points for any touchdown for a quarterback, even in that league, you're taking Justin Fields
Because of the yardage. I think he's also because he actually threw the ball last week because he was throwing the ball well. He's not totally dependent on running like he was probably even last season.
Yeah. So, Chris, you're in Lake George, one of my favorite places. So, I hope you're having a good
Different
time.
setup today. My dad was next to me going to bed. Then he came back during the recording to sleep. And then I was like,
"Aww."
I was like, you're snoring so loud you have to move.
The great Bill Reynolds. So great.
Legend.
So, hope you have fun on the boat if you're going out. Are you going out on the boat?
I'll make my dad take me on that boat one last time.
There we go. Looking for college games this week. Don't have to watch Penn State. Their season doesn't start yet. Hopefully, you don't have to watch Penn State. They play Villanova. So if you have to watch Penn State, things are going wrong in Happy Valley on Saturday. That's going to do it here for this episode. Again, we'll be back. Our episode will upload on Monday after we record after the Sunday Night Football game with the Falcons and the Vikings. Please make sure to subscribe to all our channel. Give us the interactions, even though, maybe you don't like our overreactions. Don't worry, we're not overreacting every week, so you can calm down, Broncos fans. So that's going to do it here for this episode. For my partner, Chris Reynolds, I am Adam Sheets, and thank you for listening.